Welcome back to my channel, friends. In this channel I explain Power BI and DAX concepts in very simplified and beginner friendly manner. So today we'll look into summarized column DAX expression. So before that, if you have not watched my summarized DAX expression video yet, I'll highly recommend you to go through that video. That will be helpful to understand this chapter as well. So on this note, let's start today's topic. Well, summarized columns. Summarized columns is more efficient and optimized version of summarize. Okay, so this functions also groups based on column names, and it gives the summarized tables and with the proper calculations and creates a new table. Okay, now let's see one. Now let's see its syntax. Okay, what is the syntax? Okay, now if you can see the syntax here. With summarized columns, basically we are passing column names, group by column names. Then we can give one filter statement here. Then for creating a new column name, then the expression. Okay. So what is the difference? Here we are not using filter table. Okay. Filter table, as in summarize, you used to give the table name first, then the columns, required columns. Okay. Here we'll directly give the column names. Okay. As the name suggested, summarize columns, directly give the column names. The Vertipack engine will basically figure out from which table the column is coming from, and based on that does the calculations. All right, now let's see one example of summarize column. Okay, so if you can see here, so this is the one example of summarize. Okay, I'll just take this example and try to create summarize column table. Okay, so as we all know, for summarize column also it returns one summarize table, so we have to create a new table. I'll give the name summarize columns. The function name will be columns. What is the syntax? We have to give the group by column name. Okay, I'm just removing the table name from here. Okay, and all other things will be same only. Okay, you can see the resultant is similar for both. Okay, so this is the difference. What else? I also told you we have an option to put one filter condition. Okay, I'll try to put a filter condition, filter, and to filter based on product table, and category I want to give. Okay, now if you can see, we got the only the records for the bike category. Okay, you got my point. So basically summarize columns take three kind of arguments. Okay, one is group by columns, another is filter statement, another is new column. Okay, so whatever features arguments we need for one grouping, it mostly covers all of three. Okay, so this is a very powerful grouping function. Okay, and it is very efficient and very good in performance. We mostly in a fast preference we mostly go for summarize columns. Okay, if there is some limitations, I will show you in the further. So in that case only we'll go for other functions. Okay, all right, so now we will talk about some of the modifiers. Okay, we have some of the modifiers like ignore, roll up, add, is subtotal, then roll up group. Okay, what are those? Okay, so by default summarize columns will give the summarize table by deleting the blank values. Okay, what are the blank values it will find? It will remove them. Okay, but in our case I want to see if I have to see the blank values. Okay, what we can do, we can use ignore modifier. Okay, ignore, can give ignore here. All right, now if you can see the table here. Okay, so for while combining this while grouping these two columns from two different tables. Okay, so for some values there is this is like a group by, right? So in this join some values are not present for country region, so those blank values also are present here. Okay, we got it, right? So yeah, so this is one example. Now I will show you what is subtotal. Okay, roll up. What is roll up? If you, so I'll just remove this, okay, for better view. Okay, so if you have if you have checked out my summarized video, roll up basically we are using to get the subtotal of the subtotal for particular column. Okay, for example, I want to find out what is the subtotal for subcategories. Okay, I want to see on country level, and I have to group the subtotals, and I want to see the subtotal value. Okay, how I can do? I'll write roll up subtotal, then this is the column name, and we can give some name here. Okay, I'll say subtotal hyphen uh, product. Okay, okay, anything product. All right. Okay, so now you will see here. Now what column I give subtotal? I gave it. So for subtotal, it will group the subtotals. Okay, and we will get the for Australia. If you can find out for Australia. Okay, here I'll show you. Sorry. Okay, see if you can see here now. Now it is little bit clearer. United States, excuse me, subcategory touring bike and mountain bike. Okay, now this is the subtotal for United States. How many bikes are there for bikes? Sorry, how many sales for this bike? So this is the amount. Okay, here you can see subtotal true means this is the subtotal value. Okay, for these two, this is the total. Sorry, I mean these three road bikes also, right? Three. All right. So in that fashion, we are able to see. Okay, this is the subtotal values. Fine. So what is roll up add roll up group? So I we can also give in a group. Basically, I want to give the subtotal for this both columns. Okay, how I can do it? Okay, I will give roll up group here. Okay, and now okay, I want to give another column here. Okay, what is the column? I want to give country region. Okay, for these two group by, I want to hit a value. Now if I'll get the answer, no, I'll get an error. Why? Because it is saying custom subtotal is incorrect. 1 second. Okay, I forgotten comma over here. Will you get the answer? No. Why? It is in country region is specified more than once. Okay, so here this is the rule, right? If we are using, we can only take the column name once only. Okay, unlikely to summarize. Country region we are taking here with roll up, so this we have to remove. Okay, this is also very important thing to remember. All right, now if I run it, now you will see here. Okay, so now the subtotal we are getting for this both. Okay, country region and subcategory. Got me? This is how. Okay, true and true and true. Okay, this is like grouping. If you want to apply a subtotal for both first subcategory, then country region, individually we can do that. If you do individually, you will get for both for first column, for second column, both. If you want to combine them, we'll get a subtotal for combining both. Okay, that is the logic. All right, fine. Okay, what else we have? Okay, row context is missing. So what do you mean a row context is missing? Basically, in summarize we can work for in both filter context and row context. Okay, I have explained that in summarize column, so in summarize DAX video. Okay, so as it is working in both row and filter context, there is an ambiguity while context transition. Okay, but what summarize columns do here, it only relies on filter context. Okay, it doesn't support row context. Okay, so that is for our favorable, like that will help us to remove any ambiguity while working on it. Okay, that makes it more efficient to use. All right, so let's see one example for that. Okay, let's try to see one example for that. Fine. So this is our okay, this we have clear. I'll try to create a simple summarize column from this only. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'll give columns two. Let's say this is the second tab. Okay, then I'll give this. All right. Now here, if you can see, all right. So here, this total is a filter context. It is working in filter context. Okay. I try to find out if there is any raw context. Okay. I'll just give country. Okay. I'm giving the country name, and I try to give upper of country. Let me. It will not take it also. It will not take it. It will not take any column. If it is row context one row, it will not take it also. See, column in table cannot be determined. This happen measure formula refers to a column. Okay, this is only taking measure formula. Okay, which is aggregation one. It's only taking. Let me try the same thing here in summarize. This is, I think, I try to create an example, but while real time while you are working, you will be more acquainted with these things. Okay, why, like how the raw context is not working with summarize columns. Okay, all right. See, now we are able to see the country in column caps. Okay, so this is the thing, raw context. So one more. So one more. What is the difference? Raw context is not supported in summarized columns. Okay, another. So what is the next point? Summarize columns will not work in case of any context transition. Okay, what does that mean? So if there is, so once we created a summarized column, okay, so further if there is any context transition, like if we're applying any filter context or raw context transition to that, in that case it will not work. Okay, so for to show a demo on that, let me show you. Okay, so I will create two measures. Okay, and for one for summarize, one from summarize column. Check how it is different from summarize. Okay, why context transition is not working. All right, I take this same table. Okay, I'll create new measure here. I'll give the name summarize. Let's say I'm taking sum. Okay, now I'll paste the table here. Okay, so this is our summarize table, and from summarize table we are basically getting the cells, and this cells I want to take the sum. Okay, all right, got it. This is summarize sum. Same, I will copy new measure, summarize columns, okay, we should remove the cells here. Okay, and we cannot take any row context here. Okay, the key all are same. All right, so now we see here created these two. Okay, so either here we can create a table, like using anything, like you can use add column or values, right? If to it, so now it is in filter context. Okay, So now if we'll put into a row context the sales value, there will be a context transition. Okay, let's see what we'll get on that. Okay, so for that I'll just take, I'll create a table using, first of all I'll take the subcategory products. Okay, let me, 1 second, sorry, I'll just take country region. We took category, right? Anything you can take subcategory. Okay, so this is my table. This is my table. I'll just increase the size a bit. Okay. Okay, so this is the row context. If the value of row context, if the value filter context, I'll put into the row. Okay, this is a summarize. Okay, we got it. All right. For summarize, we're getting data. What if we'll give for summarize columns? Okay, we got this error. We got a pretty decent error. Calculation error in measure summarize table, summarize and add. See, summarize columns and add missing items may not be used in this context. Okay, we got it right. So this is what I want to achieve here. This is what I want to explain here. All right. Okay. So this I can use. See, if I have to use a card, in a card I can use. I can get the value. Okay. In card I can get the value, and basically this will not work on this. Okay. Context transition will not work. Any context transition. This is filter context, and that is the row context. Okay. So this is we can say a kind of demerit, because summarize columns we cannot use with measures. Okay. So now if I have to combine all the points, okay, summarize and summarize columns. Okay. Okay. So what is the conclusion here? Summarize columns we cannot use with measures. Okay. Why? Because it doesn't support any context transition, which is very necessary while creating measures. Okay. So now what is the difference between summary and summarize columns? What do you find? Summarize and summarize columns. The differences are, in summarize columns, we can see the blank values using ignore. Okay. If you are creating any tables, right? In that case, sometimes it is necessary. And we can directly give filter condition within that function itself. Okay. Which makes it more powerful grouping function. Okay. Then it doesn't support any row context. So it only support filter context. So there is no ambiguity. Okay, no ambiguity in transition of row to filter context. Okay, so which we see in summarize mostly. Okay, so it is more effective and more efficient, and I can say, very good performance while using summarize columns. So mostly you go for summarize columns for grouping the data, but in some cases while we cannot use, okay, in that case you can go for summarize with add columns. Basically we should not create a new column in the summarize, we can go for add columns. Okay, so that is the rule of thumb. So now I'll show you one example where we'll see the performance. Okay, how performance is difference. I'll show one simple example, and we'll conclude the video. Okay. All right. So I'll just take this function. Okay. I'll try to put it here. All right. So now if I run it, this is C. This is summarize. Okay. If you can see here, it took one query. First, it joined with customer. Then in next case, again we're getting the region and subcategory based on the join. Okay, it basically configured, I mean, go with two joins, and how much time it takes? 7 milliseconds. Okay, this is with summarize. We have seen, right? Okay, sorry, total second is 10 milliseconds. Okay, all right. This is engine, this is storage it take 3 milliseconds, then here 7, total 10 milliseconds. Okay, now let's try to see with summarize columns. Okay, same, I'll take it. Let's see how much time it is taking. It is taking total 8 milliseconds. Okay. If it is very complex one, and mostly it is taking only one query to get it. Okay. It doesn't take any storage expression here. So my point is, so if see, I took very simple example. If there is more and more groupings, and then we are creating multiple columns in that, no, then it is very easier, or it is more efficient in performance, in point of performance for summarize columns. All right. Yeah.